Welcome to Animal Posse, the podcast dedicated to the people and rescues making a difference in the lives of animals. Today, we're excited to welcome Katie Hunt of Shagbark Hickory Farm, where the healing power of horses helps transform lives. We'll talk about the equine-assisted therapy, the unique bond between humans and horses, and how these incredible animals support emotional growth, confidence, and well-being for people of all ages. Hi, Katie.
Thank you for having me.
I am super excited to learn all about Shagbark Hickory Farms. Tell me what you do.
So, I do equine therapy. My mother actually started our farm over 50 years ago, and she basically started it as a boarding and lesson facility. She always loved horses, and she went up and down her street in South Windsor looking for horses to ride. And then when she got married, she came here and started her farm basically. And then I grew up here as well and had horses in my backyard. I was lucky to have that. And basically, we were both special ed teachers by trade. And it was a hobby. They've always been here. And like I said, my mother started teaching. And then about 2018, I turned it into a nonprofit to be able to do some fundraising and some grants and things like that. And I expanded our programs for the equine therapy and then took our special ed backgrounds and just morphed it into with the horses and things like that. So I do what I love with our horses. And we just found how the horses can really help these students with autism and anxiety and even the cerebral palsy kids that even have some physical needs can just I don't have the physical therapy part of it, but the students and the parents will come back and say, "Oh, the doctors have said how much they have improved with their physical mobility and things like that." And some of the anxiety students will come and they don't want to socialize with their peers here at the farm. They've said that they've had a bad day or they've had a fight with their parents. And so I'll just say, "Why don't you go brush one of the horses in their stall by themselves?" And they'll emerge from the stall like within 20 minutes. And I'm like, "Do you feel better?" And they are like, "Yes, we do." And so I kind of said, horses do fix everything. We also have a homeschool program. I think our homeschool program is sometimes bigger than just our community lessons. We have probably 20 to 25 homeschool students. That doesn't include all the siblings and their parents. And then the community lesson program. We also have a preschool program that's from 2 to 5 years old. And we probably have about 5 to 7 of those on a weekly basis. And then we also have connected with a program in town that's a boys' school where it's a residential program and they come here also on a weekly basis, 3 kids at a time, basically. So, yeah, that's just I found my niche, if you will.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting. I certainly would like to learn more about all of those. Before we get into that, though, I'd like to talk about your name a little bit because you do have the name farm. So, do you do any farming outside of just caring for the horses?
No, it's basically just the horses. It is named after a tree here on the farm. We have a very large shagbark hickory tree. And we did have a gentleman stop just randomly, probably about 7 years ago. I think he just noticed the size of the tree and how large it is. And he had said that it was like within the top 10 in Connecticut of the shagbark trees. And he hasn't been back since, but he did kind of say that it was in his top 10, if you will, of trees that he was measuring and keeping an eye on. So my parents, when they, like I said, when they moved here, that's how they named the farm.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
When your parents started it, did they use any of the horses for therapy or was it more so that you just had a love for the horses?
It's a love for the horses, so they did back then. So that was like in the 70s and 80s. I don't know that it was a therapy thing back then. It was just a love for the horse, and that's how actually we even just kinda our mission, if you will, grew, was just giving the love of the horse to those that can't afford it as well. So although we do the therapy piece, We also just want to share the love of the horse with those that can't have them in their backyard. Or a lot of times, some of the kids will ride here and say, Mommy, Daddy, we want to have a horse. And we tell them no. It's a lot of work. There's a lot that goes into having horses themselves. They're a tricky animal. For starters, you don't want to have to take care of them. And we're going to have 90-degree weather and heat indexes up until 100 this coming week. And horses can't throw up, they get colic instead. And if you don't know that as a veteran horse person, you can't just throw them in your backyard and call it a day. So there's a lot that goes into them. So part of our mission for or how it even started when we became a nonprofit was to give that love of the horse to those that either can't afford it or just don't have enough knowledge.
How many horses do you have?
So it's been an interesting year. So if you didn't know, 2026 is the year of the horse. We have 10. That is the most that we've ever, I shouldn't say that. That's the most we've ever had since we've become a nonprofit. My mother, when she was boarding back when, had at the most was 17. 10 right now is the most we've had in a very long time. Going back to what I was saying about it's been an interesting year. I used to say that the most we could ever have was 9. We lost one that we had for a couple of years. Part of our mission is to take in the semi-retired horse and use them in our program, but also to give these horses a home that they can call their home until God calls them home. So the average age of our horses are in their 20s. And so one of the horses, she was suffering from a bladder stone for the last year or so. And so we had to make the difficult decision to put her down, and that was in January-ish. And so then another horse came along that we thought was going to fit into our program, and he was only here for a month. It was a very sad and disturbing story. I didn't kinda know what God's plan was really. I've decided that he brought him here so that we could send him on home to be home because he was just here for a month and he too had some kind of tumor inside. He showed signs of colic for about a week off and on. And then finally, when the vet came, he had a baseball sized tumor inside. And then he too had to be put down. And then finally, we just got a new one this week and he seems to be good and healthy and will be wonderful for our program. So hopefully we have a good solid herd now and we can use them in our programs and things like that. But again, most of them out there are in their mid 20s and a few of them are in their teens.
Where do you get these semi-retired horses from?
I would say God opens those doors as well. Most of them are given to us. My daughter just found this last one. She just became a vet tech for our horse vet that we've had for over 30 years. And she was on a call, and this client was looking for a home for him because he wasn't fitting into the boarding situation that he was in. And she wanted him to have a job. She's looking to get a new horse herself. And he wasn't getting the care and the riding that he needed. So she wants him to be busy and have a job. He's only 16, so he certainly has a lot of life ahead of him. So he'll fit right in here where he's not getting too much work, but just enough. That's why we call them semi-retired. And basically, they all just kind of knock on our door, really. I don't go looking for them.
It's like cat people where the cats just find you, right?
Exactly. Yes, that's a very good analogy. Yes, I don't go looking for them. They find us.
Oh, that's funny.
Yes.
With the equine therapy, I know nothing about equine therapy. So
Okay.
tell me about it in a nutshell. What does it involve?
Like I said before, it's just that love of the horse and the bond between the horse and the rider or the horse and the student. The horse really does know when somebody's having a bad day and it can't be hidden. Their heartbeats will regulate with our heartbeats. So if they're really nervous and their heartbeats are really high, like the horse will get really nervous and vice versa. And when that student goes into the stall and just starts brushing them and breathing, and it'll regulate and calm them down as well. There's that piece of it that just calms them down. And then there are riders also who they too don't know that they're uptight or they're nervous. They'll tell me, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. And the horse is just like really agitated. And I'm like, you're not fine. And so we go through that breathing and that you need to settle down. You're not okay. And the horse is not okay. So you need to settle down for the horse's sake. And so it's that teaming up that they do as well, and that just works together. So there's that piece. That's what we do here. There is equine therapy where they team up with a therapist. It's not really what we do here, but we just use the horse to help with the anxiety, the ADHD. I do have students here that have cerebral palsy, that kind of thing. My adults come here after work and just say, one of them just told me this week where she goes, I drive down the road and I see the farm and it all just melts away. And that's why I do what I do.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, when you say the horse is agitated and that's when you can tell if a person is nervous, how do you know the horse is agitated? What are the signs that the horse gives you?
So I've seen this in both ways. One person will get off the same horse. One person will get off and or ride rather, and the horse is like just walking around and being slow and just being like to do. And then the person that's not having a great day or has things on their mind, and that person will get on, and all of a sudden they're like walking real fast, and their head is high, and they're looking around at their surroundings, and it's yeah, you're not okay. I do have a couple, two horses probably out there that they themselves have anxiety. So they look to their people to tell them that it's okay, that they don't need to go fast or that kind of stuff. So if they're an anxious rider, they're going to make him more anxious. And so we've paired them up. The funny thing is, I have a homeschooler who is an anxious person, but she can ride Chevy very well and make him settled. And both of us have said, that's really strange, but it really works. And so I think that's very good for her as an anxious person that she can ride him and make him chill out a little bit.
When you said that the horse's heartbeats will regulate with a person's heartbeats and they feed on the energy, is that an observation that you made or is that something that's documented?
That's documented.
Yeah, that's very interesting because I always tell people when you're dealing with even just like cats and dogs. I do cats and I notice that, and I always tell people cats always feed off of your energy. If you are nervous, they're going to be nervous. If you're anxious,
Right.
anxious. If you're calm, they're calm. They know when you're upset, they know when you're happy. And a lot of people don't believe that and they don't understand that when you say that. So it's very interesting that has been documented with the horses because it's something that you see with all animals, really.
Exactly. I agree. Yes. No, but it has definitely been documented. Yes. I can't give you the reference, but I'm sure if you Google it, you'll find it too. But it definitely has been documented.
When you do the equine therapy, is it like a field trip? Do people make appointments to come over or do they just come? Do they come as a group?
So we do it by appointments. I teach on Wednesdays basically and Wednesday afternoons in the spring semester and in the fall semester, Saturday mornings. And then we have camp sessions as well. And we do it in a group setting basically. And then I'm very flexible. So I try to be as flexible as I can with everybody's schedule and my own as well.
And where do you find the people that you invite to come over to do the equine therapy?
Word of mouth has been wonderful. Facebook has been wonderful as well. But yeah, basically, I would say Facebook and word of mouth.
And is this something that's free of charge for people?
So, no, at this point, we are charging, but I also work on a sliding scale if we need to. I have done different community services. We had our town police department come for this kind of thing last just fall, September, fall. And we plan on doing that again. We have a pony. His name is Snickers. He's very popular. He's gone to different events. We've taken him to the nursing homes. Those events can be free of charge and things like that. So it depends on the circumstances, but we try to work things out because it is 10 horses are there's a high cost to all of that.
When you take Snickers out to the nursing home, how does that work?
So we've taken him quite a few times. We have taken him where the residents come of the nursing home come out to see him. We've dressed him up for 4th of July. Dressed him up for Valentine's Day, different things like that. And we bring him to the nursing home and they come out and see him. And we've walked him right through the middle of the nursing home as well. So I have a beautiful picture of Snickers going right up to the bed of one of the residents because she was bedbound.
Oh, that's amazing. I can't imagine what
Yeah.
kind of impact that it has for them.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And at home, he's a pony. And I don't know if you've ever heard this, but ponies can be very persnickety and can sometimes be a little bratty. And at home, he's definitely that, but he knows his job and he knows when he needs to turn that off and just sit still. And he does. It's amazing.
What was the aha moment when you decided that you were going to go from just having the farm with the horses to the equine therapy?
I don't know that there was an aha moment. It just evolved into such things. I think there was an aha moment turning it into the nonprofit. We needed to definitely do some like the fundraising and the grants writing and things like that. And then it became not more of a job, but okay, what programs can I do next? What can I work on next? And so that's where the evolving came. And then I just the more things evolve in the world, if you will, I don't know that I could ever go back to public school teaching. And I get the best of both worlds here where I can teach and I can teach with my horses, and I couldn't be happier.
When you do your homeschooling, do you have the horses as a part of the curriculum?
Absolutely. So we're not homeschooling and where we're teaching reading, writing, and math. They come here and you had asked about the farming piece of it. They're caretaking for the horses. They're learning how to clean the barn and take care of the horses. And our philosophy is the horses come first and they put the horses out. And so they're here from 9 to 12 on a Thursday morning. And so we do that, and then, like I said, there's about 20 of them, and so we divide them up about who's gonna ride who, and we use 4 or 5 of the horses, and then the older kids help the younger kids, and then we ride for from 10 to, like, 12, and the bigger kids walk the younger kids, and I teach, and they teach essentially too. If they're walking the horses, they have to do some teaching as well. And then we untack them and we put them all away and they have to hay and water the horses and make sure everybody's all set. Nobody can be like, my parents here, I gotta go. No, the horses come first. Are the horses all set before you run out the door? And so they have to get that full experience of I take care of my horse and that kind of thing, going back to mommy, daddy, can I have a horse? If you are going to have a horse someday when you're an adult, this is what it's going to entail.
Yeah, that's great that they're able to go out and learn that kind of stuff because I think that's what we need more of is people teaching about animals.
And
Rather
responsibility.
Yes, definitely, definitely, because I think people have this idea that they can just get an animal, and it's even like that with a cat and a dog. There's no thought going into it a lot of the times. They'll just be like, "Okay, let an animal today." And
Yes,
then they end up making that animal disposable in a sense because they're not ready for the responsibility of having an animal.
I agree with you. Yes, absolutely. And even the preschoolers. So that's on a Friday morning. That's from 9 to 10. Yes, they're 2 to 5 years old, but I try to give them a little chore, whether it's kicking the shavings around, all 7 of them cleaning one stall, and no, it's not perfect, but cleaning the stall and then brushing their horse. And it's one horse, they're sharing one horse. The rest of them are playing in the play area. They're taking turns, that kind of thing. So they're learning that sharing is caring. And then they're all untacking the horse and all of that afterwards as well. They're starting as young as 2 to 5 years old at that point as well.
Yeah, that's great. And when you reach them that young and even just reaching the children in general, I find that it almost helps to educate the adults as well because the kids go home and they tell their parents everything. And if the parents come up with something else, they're going to argue with them and say, no, this is what you need to do.
I agree. Yes. Yes.
Do you have any success stories that you would like to share?
I was just going to say that from the preschoolers, I've had many preschoolers start in preschool and then just work their way up into our programs for sure. I do have a bunch of girls that now 30 and have been here. We didn't have preschool back when they started, but nonetheless, they have started when they were 6, 7, or 8, and then they have been here and are still here. And now they're anywhere from 25 to 30 years old. But my one of my other girls who has been here, I think she's going on her 3rd or 4th year. Her name is Haley, and she has cerebral palsy, and she just loves coming here. Her legs are in braces. She almost runs when she walks, and she's unstable, but she gets on one of our horses named Wyatt, who again, he knows, he knows it's her. He knows he needs to behave because if any of us got on him, he might give us a hard time, but he knows it's her and he stands still. And the girls walk her around and the dad helps walk, be a sidewalker. And the smile on that girl's face when she rides, and she just, I ride Wyatt. I ride Wyatt the whole time she goes around. And she's one also that the grandmother has said that the doctors have come back and said her core has gotten stronger and things like that. But again, just the joy to watch her ride is amazing. And so there are many stories like that I could share, but she's one that sticks out just because she's just so happy. And I also work with, just real quick, a 36-year-old young lady who has autism, and she's been with me for many years. And that young lady feeds my horses every night, brings them in and out every day, and she's just amazing as well with the horses.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. It really is to hear that it's having such an impact on them.
Yes, yeah, it's wonderful. It's why I love what I do.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you too, the students that you're getting, are these people or are these children that have a love for animals and want to explore it more? Or is it something more that the parents want to instill this in them?
I would have to say it's a little bit of both. I've had both happen. I've had both parents call me and say, my child loves animals with or without those kind of severities of disabilities. And so I want to see what's going to happen. I've had parents call or text me and say, I've heard that horses can be good with children with disabilities. Can we give this a try? That kind of thing. And then I've just had your typical horse girl where the parents call and say, "My kid can't stop talking about horses. Can we come visit?" So it's been across the board kind of thing.
And how far do people normally have to travel to get to your farm?
We're in Connecticut, so all of Connecticut is about a 2-hour drive. So most of them are pretty local. As I have had probably a handful that may have come from about an hour away, but I feel bad for them. I wouldn't travel an hour away to get here. Not a lot have stuck around for an hour drive away. And here there are quite a few, either horse farms in general or even equine therapy places that somebody could find something closer.
That's very interesting. I love learning about all of this because, like I said, I knew nothing about equine therapy. And to hear that these animals are making such a difference in these people's lives. And then I would imagine that it's the same, that these people are making a difference for the horses too.
Yes,
It's
yeah,
truly amazing.
yes. And why be out in a field doing nothing? We actually do have one, I shouldn't say young horse. I was going to say young lady. She's probably our second oldest horse. She's 26 years old. She's a thoroughbred. And she came to us a year ago or so. And the same situation, she was owned by an 18-year-old who couldn't afford two horses. And her trainer, the young lady's trainer, was like, "Oh, take her." And I tried really hard to say, you were asking me earlier how they come to me. I tried really hard to say no. And I said, "She looks like she's comfortable. She looks like she's settled. She looks like she's nice and retired." And the trainer was said to me, "No, she's got some life left in her and her student couldn't afford her." And I said, "Okay, fine." I was afraid that the horse was going to get bounced around from one retirement home to another retirement home. And I didn't want her to do that. I said, "I'll take her. She's here." And as you were saying, I think it's good. She likes to work. She loves the kids. She's getting tons and tons of love and attention. So I think it worked out best and she won't get bounced around from, and I don't know that would have been true, but I was afraid that because of the financial situation that she would have just gotten tossed here or tossed there. And so now we know that she's here.
Before we end the call, can you tell people how they can connect with you or learn more about your farm?
Absolutely. We're definitely on Facebook, and it's just clearly under Shagbark Hickory Farm, or you can even connect with me on Facebook at Katie Hunt. The best way to get in touch with me is through my cell phone, which is texting through 860-849-3868. We've got a fundraiser coming up for our second annual golf tournament coming up on July 25th that we're excited about. So we're getting ready for that. And you can learn more about that on Facebook and texting me directly. And yeah, those are the best ways to get a hold of us.
Thanks so much for joining me today and sharing your love of horses. I really enjoyed hearing about all this.
Yes, this was wonderful. Thanks for reaching out. I really appreciate it.
That's it for today's episode of Animal Posse. If you love what we're doing, please consider becoming a member. Your support directly helps us continue highlighting the people and stories that save lives across the country. Just a quick reminder, the views and opinions expressed by our guests are theirs alone and are provided for entertainment purposes. They don't necessarily reflect the official position of the show, and this information should never replace the advice of your own veterinarian. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bars in the night, claws in the fight, whiskers twitch and tails take flight. They're calling in stories to spin from the wild to the heart within. Broken wings and hopeful springs, we're the voices for these things. Animal Posse, hear the call. We stand together, big and small. Rescue tales, we've got it all. Animal Posse, saving them all. The vet's got tips, the rescuer's grit, the foster homes where love won't quit. From rise up, we never fail. This is the bond, the holy grail.